Hey guys, what is happening? Welcome back. I'm Cameron Shearer, personal trainer, amateur bodybuilder at this point, and I'm also a sports and exercise scientist. I'm actually just back from the gym not long ago, and I was really thinking quite a lot on the periods of time in my life where I have been giving it my all, I've been showing up, but the results weren't coming. The results weren't showing. And being so grateful for now being in a position where I stuck at it and I pushed through. So, we're going to dive into that today. We're going to simply just speak about the periods of time where you're putting in effort but the results aren't coming yet. And if you're a guy right now on the grind in the gym, trying to eat better, trying to build discipline, trying to build your career, trying to earn more money, whatever, and it feels like nothing is changing, then this episode is definitely for you. See, I do genuinely believe that you are either growing or you're stalling. And what I mean by that is you're either working towards something, you're working towards bettering yourself in some way, or you're doing nothing and settling for the life that you currently have and it will never change. And I hope that if you're a guy listening to this right now, you're one of those guys that is trying to grow, that is trying to build a better life, that is showing up wherever it may be. And I'm going to show you how to keep on growing, even when the rewards aren't there yet, even when they're not showing up yet. But first, as always, we're going to jump into a Q&A section, and today we're just going to speak about one thing that came up with a client about motivation. So I'll break that down, and then we'll actually get into the main bulk of the episode. So one of the guys was completing his check-in form, and quote, he said, "I need a bit of a nudge. Motivation's low for the gym workouts." And first off, like everyone thinks because of social media that you need to be high motivation all the time. Because really when content is being made to be posted online, that person is at their absolute peak energy. They want to put out their best or they're just faking it. So it makes it seem like everyone is extremely high motivation all the time. But to be honest, that's not true. It's unachievable, it's unrelatable. And what I told him was vision and intention are far greater than motivation will ever be. Truthfully, I'm not highly motivated all the time. There are times where I don't want to work out. There are times where I don't want to do work. There are times where there's tasks I need to do that I don't want to do. That just is true. There's other times where I'm highly motivated, for sure. But I would say there's probably more times that I'm not motivated than there is times that I am motivated. So, how do I get around that? How does anyone get around that? Well, you need to be crystal clear in where you want to be. You need to have a real vision of who it is, where it is you want to become. See, I am crystal clear on my vision and my intention, and my actions don't depend on my feelings and they do not depend on my motivation levels. They don't. Like, if I am not wanting to do it, like right now, I'm 2 weeks out, less than a week and a half out from my first bodybuilding show, and every morning I'm getting up and doing cardio. And let me tell you, The motivation to go do cardio after doing it for 4 months is almost non existent. But when you're clear in the vision, motivation comes and goes. It can do whatever it wants. When you have intention, you will act on your daily habits. You will take action regardless of how you feel. So know where it is you want to be. That's one of the first things I do with any of my guys inside my program is make sure that they have a defined vision. And we build the systems that guarantees they move towards that on the daily. Whether motivation shows up or not, intention beats everything. If you don't have intention, you end up getting lost and you end up relying on motivation and you end up falling off after a week or two. So get crystal clear on the actual intention. Right, back to making sure that you are constantly moving forward even when the results aren't there yet. So truthfully, like there's a couple of big scenarios in my life where this has been the case. The first one I can think of was when I was like 17, 18 years old. I was training 6-7 days a week for several hours in the gym, and I felt like I was giving my everything, but I was not happy with where my physique was. It wasn't changing fast enough. And it's true. Like looking back in it, it was not changing fast enough. And I thought in the time I was failing. But when I actually look back and deep it a wee bit more than just the actual physical results, I was building resilience. I was building the disciplines that I now possess today, and I was building patience. My results didn't show up right away. It really didn't, but the periods of not quitting from then till now is what made me who I am today. It really is it. Like, you are either growing or you're stalling. You're either putting in work or you're not. Now, mediocre inputs equal mediocre outputs. That is for sure. But high inputs, even if it doesn't feel like it's paying off right now, it will pay off. Maybe not in the time that you want, maybe not in the way that you want, but high efforts do pay off. So what I'm saying is, don't be half-arsing things expecting the world. But if you really are putting in effort, growing, evolving, testing, and making better, then the results will come one day. And no matter what that is, they will come. Because they have to come. Because effort compounds. Results don't always show themselves linearly. That's very true. But the effort compounds over time. And sometimes there's a gap in growth. Periods where there are no results. And this is the periods that suck the most. However, they also are the periods of time where you develop the most, where your mental toughness increases, where your resilience increases, where you build your identity, where you actually figure out who you are. Because results aren't always physical. Whether it is physique or financial or career, they're not always physical. Sometimes the best results you can get are the ones that happen on the inside. That really is true. And it has been true with me. So my first example of building muscle when I was like 17, that was very true. I have been consistent in the gym from 16 all the way through till now, and I'm just about to turn 25. And that was built in my early days. The consistency was built then. I've evolved in what I do to get more results for sure, but my discipline was developed at a very, very young age and at the very start of the journey. There's been periods of time in business where I've been trying to grow as a business owner and it's not been growing, and I've been putting in maximum effort. And sometimes you do have to realize, okay, I'm putting effort into the wrong things. I'm just not doing the right things. And that's the evolution of growing, is making sure you're actually putting your attention to the things that matter, the things that move the needle. But if you're doing that, it has to come. It will come. Because there's no other option. You are doing what is required to grow. You just need to keep on going. But if you quit, if you stop, the clock resets. If you stay, results are guaranteed. It just is the case. If you keep on going, there is no other option. But the hardest part is keeping it going, for sure. I've been there so many times in so many different scenarios. Keep on going. So my biggest takeaways are, one, from what I was saying to my client, write down your vision. Where do you actually want to be? Where do you want to go? Know that crystal clear. Because if you have a vision, you have a goal, you can reverse engineer that goal into a plan. And you can start taking action on that. So step 2 is, once you've got that vision, is write down 3 non-negotiable habits that you cannot break, no matter how you feel, that is just execution on getting you towards that goal and getting you towards that vision. Reverse engineer it. And then the last thing is, you can't just do mediocre and expect good results. The thing that the thing that breaks you from mediocre to getting great in anything is tracking and evaluating. Track your markers, track your progress as much as possible, weekly, daily, monthly, and anything. Like, a habit that I do, if we're talking about like physique, is every single morning I take a picture of my body weight, my scales. I've got hundreds, probably approaching thousands, of just pictures on my phone of what my body weight is and what year, and what day, because it's something that I genuinely care about, and it's something that I want to keep on tracking, and I want to see it progress. So I track it. The same with business. I track the metrics that matter most when it comes to my business. So see what works, implement it. If the metrics aren't moving, you need to change it, or you need to be more consistent with it. It really is that. Use those small signs as progress, and they also direct you. If you aren't seeing progress doing the current things that you're doing, maybe you have to flip the script a wee bit. But I for sure think that the periods where I have been putting in effort and not been getting results have been the periods where I have grown the most as an individual, where I have been tested the most, where my emotions have been high, where my stress has been high, where my anxiety has been high. But those are the times that you grow the most on the inside. So if you're going through that right now, I hope that helps. If you're ready to live like the man you want to become, DM me, built, on WhatsApp or Instagram, and I'll show you the exact framework that my guys use to dominate their fitness and their life without being overwhelmed. That's in the description below of this podcast. But that's it really for me this week. Remember that growth doesn't always show up in the mirror. It doesn't always show up in the scales right away. It doesn't always show up physically or in your numbers, but sometimes something bigger is growing, progress is happening on the inside that no one else can see but you. If you keep on pushing through, you will realize that is the biggest reward that you can receive. That is the biggest accomplishment, is just keep on going. So if you found this helpful, please like, please rate, please share. I don't really know what these things want, right? But if you've listened till now, I massively appreciate you. The next version of you isn't a fantasy. He just lives with better systems, right? He just lives with better intention. So I'll see you next week. Peace out. I appreciate you. Have a phenomenal one.